Welcome to Uplift, inspiring stories to uplift the world. I am Gemma Serenity Gorokov, your host, and today we have Parveen Smith joining us. Welcome, Parveen. How are you today?
I'm doing very well, and it's lovely to see you again.
Absolutely, for me too, yes. So let's start with your story. How did you grow up? In what kind of family?
Okay, so imagine growing up with five girls in the same household. That was us. My mum had five children, all under the age of 5 years old. We're all 1 year apart. Imagine. Whoa. She had her hands full, of course, didn't she? But she did really well to bring us up the way she did. In the 1970s, you're thinking about what was life like. Life used to be really simple, really quiet, really easy going. You could leave your doors open and this sort of thing. So she felt that we were quite safe. Of course we were. And growing up with sisters, of course, all females in the same household. Whoa, you can imagine the little bickerings we must have had. Plenty of those. Sometimes we loved each other. Sometimes we want to just, get rid of each other. A bit like this and a bit like this, pulling of the hair. I think all sisters may have gone through this. Yeah. Even I know boys, brothers go through this too. So today is all about how we can just grow from learning from our own experiences. And I can definitely share with you that I've had lots and lots of experiences in my life. And I'm actually quite open and sharing my age, if that's okay with you, Gemma.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I think we have the same age about that.
Okay, so I'm 54 years old and I am so happy and I'm so joyous for being alive. And I have three grown-up children and I have three grandchildren. And this time we have boys in the family because in my mother's generation of girls, they were just girls, girls, girls. So it's so lovely that we've got boys coming into the family as well as girls. And yes, so life was challenging for some people, in the 1970s. And we were also in that same era of challenges because my mum came into the UK when she was a young teenager. And, she had to settle into a completely different foreign country, coming from India, Malaysia, and then coming to the UK. So that was different for her. And when she had the girls, of course, again, challenging times. But, I can still remember, we in those days used to have, for example, an orange for Christmas or one doll to share between two girls, In those days, that's how it was. I know the world we live in now, a lot of people got into maybe a bit more materialistic items and like gifts, 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 gifts all the time to their children. So one thing as a transformative coach, what I do share with people as I was a mentor in schools as well over 23 years ago. And I mentored lots of children and families too, actually. And my thoughts were, let's go back to basics, everybody. I loved the 70s because life was just so simple. So my thoughts as I was mentoring children was to be more creative because when we're creative, we have more fun. So in schools, I was doing a lot of school assemblies. We did lots of role play and plays. Like, for example, remember The Wizard of Oz? What a magical film that is. Yeah. The Wizard of Oz is amazing. And we replicated this, and the children had so much fun growing into these roles, that Tin Man, for example, the lion and so forth, and playing Dorothy. Someone just absolutely loved playing Dorothy. And these are the sort of things that I felt was really important growing up as well. Emotionally, we sometimes think, we can focus sometimes on the sad stuff, but I always like to balance it out, especially in the now years, the latter years, because we want to experience joyful things as well as the things that have happened. So, of course, there's a lot to my story, but I won't go into it too much on this show today. But what I wanted to share with you is that when I was 17 years old, and I used to walk miles to go to college, I think it was about 3 miles that way and 3 miles back. And one thing I noticed was people hardly ever smiled. So, on purpose, as a 17-year-old girl, I used to walk around smiling, walking down the street because I wanted to smile back too. And it was to uplift people. And even when I caught the occasional bus to go to college, I used to love chatting with the driver because I'm just thinking he sat there all that time on his own, saying hello, goodbye, here's your change, and that's it. And every time I was getting off at the stop, I'd always get up a bit earlier and I would stand there and I would talk to him and I would just make his day smiley as well. And then when we do this, we can actually notice the contagiousness of smiling, chatting with people, being open, just that, hello, how's your day? All this really, really does matter. So I've always wanted to uplift people. And I suppose that's because of my life experiences as well, growing up. But then as we become older and we're emotionally more connected and out to ourselves, I would say, and to other people, we want to bring this contagious, happy, joyous energy. And so that was when I was 17. And then later on in life, a few more things had happened in my life. But as I focused more on what do I want next, it was not just about being a stay-at-home mum. In those days in the 90s, it was like, I don't want to stay at home, 80s and 90s. I don't want to stay at home. I want to work. And I can remember my husband saying, I'm the provider. You don't need to go to work. But for a woman, isn't this true? And if maybe as well, if men are watching this too, but if you look at this, as a woman, you want to be self-sufficient. Yeah. We want to be standing in our own power and we want to be contributors too. And for me, growing up at that time in my life, I didn't want to be just a stay-at-home mom. And I don't know why my husband would say this is the best way. But for me, I wanted to be, I'm a doer. I needed to get out and do something. And then I started training to be in education, working with children. And I got a lot of joy from that because when you get down onto a child's level and you're emotionally connecting with them, they get a lot from you, but you also are giving, you're giving them and they're giving you something as well. And you walk away from your day feeling, oh, I really helped that child because we don't know what's happening for that child when the child goes home. But for me, working in education and mentoring was really, really important. And I can remember, I didn't really go to concerts, it wasn't the thing for me. And as an adult, my daughter took me to my very first concert, and you wouldn't believe who it was. It was Beyonce. And it was because they were interested. Imagine going into something like from a really quiet life sort of thing, then going into something really dramatical. And this superstar is all over the place singing her heart out and lots of people there. And I felt a little bit overcrowded with it all. I was a little bit overwhelmed, if I'm being honest with you. But that was one of my very first concerts I ever went to. And yeah, it was okay. It was good for everybody else, but really it's not my cup of tea. So it depends what people want out of life is what I'm sharing with you here today, because we all have a purpose and we all want to connect some way to something. But it's finding your purpose first of all, of where we want to be at, what do we really want out of life, and then journeying on that path. Like I've already experienced, and I've shared this with you. Children were the most important thing for me growing up. And I even taught my own children lots of things after school. So I re-educated them at home as well. So they went to school, but during the dinner time, we all educated each other. So we learned from the children learned from us. And we talked about the planets, the solar system, the universe. We looked at all the seasons and all this sort of stuff. We may not usually learn at school. Okay, so they were getting extra education at home. And I believe that this has supported their whole growing up to where they are in life today. So if we want to uplift somebody, I think we've got to start to connect with them emotionally first, open up conversations. And when we open up the conversations, doesn't matter what the subject matter is really, they will connect with you on that emotional level. And this is how I decided I wanted to bring my children up. And for me, I had a 4-year gap between all of my children, unlike my mother. One child after another, after another, after another. And what I wanted to do is give them a quality of experience, quality of everything I possibly could do. But one thing I've already touched on is I didn't want to spoil my children because I wanted them to experience things in a balanced way. So I never overly gave to them. And I did that on purpose because when they were going to grow up a little later, I wanted them to appreciate the world around them. And I wanted them to sense and feel what does it feel like to go out and buy something, when they were going to be adults. And actually, I can quite honestly say now all of my 3 children are well settled down. They are income earners, they've got steady relationships. And of course, I'm a grandmother, so there's some babies in the household, toddlers, teenagers, not quite teenagers, young children. And we're looking at how they're going to develop because we want to instill this same sort of joy and happiness, inspiring life that we have experienced for them and then further on down the line. I'm a big believer, because I'm a transformative coach, that the more we can be the role models in society, and especially for our own children, we're going to inspire them to be something like yourselves or even better. And this is the journey that I've been on over the last, I'm 54 years old. I'm lucky to be healthy and well and alive. And I want to continue on this journey to show my grandchildren this is how the world works. And it's just so lovely, because when I see my grandchildren now, they actually want to come up and give me a hug first thing in the morning or like whenever. And I don't even expect it. Can you see the knock-on effect of how we bring our children up and how we can actually change situations and perceptions? We can change our environment. We can change literally anything when we emotionally connect with our families and beyond as well. So I'm a big believer that emotionally, if we stay healthy and well, we can connect with anybody and we can make an impact. So that's my growing up sort of happy stories of how I wanted to transform my life, and how I now I'm helping other people to transform their lives too. So, so important. I always say to people, we have one body, we have one body system, okay? And for it to function, we must look at everything in balance. And sometimes when we are in a space of not going places, or we're not getting on with people, or we have some conflicts going on, we seem to get stuck in that. Or I've seen my clients, even, or people get stuck in that zone. But we've got to elevate ourselves and change a few things, change the story, and move to other spaces where we can be much more happier. And that's when, all the amazing things will come your way. And I'm a living proof of this myself. Of course, Gemma knows my story, that I am happy, healthy, and well now, which I wasn't years ago. And I've completely transformed myself. My whole story is completely different now. And this is the inspiration that I love to share with people when I go on global stages, and when I do these podcasts, and when I share things on television, maybe, or in magazines, or wherever it may be, that we can literally become absolutely anything we want to be. And a lot of it comes back to, first of all, being in a happier space. And if you don't know how to be in a happier space, please seek the right support and help to get you into that space. And then once we're in that joyous frequency and energy, that's when the universe will say, you know what? I like you so, so much for being happy and joyous. I'm going to give you a little sprinkle of this. And the knock-on effects of that are huge. So if I can share with you how I transform my life, I have miracles happening literally every day. I get one amazing thing that comes my way every single day, at least one. Last week, I woke up to 3 amazing emails all in one morning. And this is like 7:30 in the morning here. So I was asked to be a speaker at King's College in Cambridge in the United Kingdom, which is a university. And that was amazing. And how these invitations have been coming my way have been really a manifestation, but also how I've actually kept myself in the right frequency, because that is one of the most biggest things to me over the last 19 years. How I was so sick, and how I become so the opposite, from a wheelchair user, as my friend says, to being an absolute, she calls me a global speaker and inspirational person. So this is where life can absolutely transform. So if you can look at being uplifted, I hope today is going to be that journey for you. And being in the most happiest spaces is something really, really important to me. Teaching our children at a young age as much as possible to be joyous and happy, because you know what? Even though children go to school, they are being educated on maths and English and science and geography and history, and maybe speaking in one other language, be it German, French, or Spanish. But one thing that we are forgetting, and this is what I know from 23 odd years ago, is, when do children actually feel happy? Except for in the playground, So as a mentor for children, my job was to put a smile on a child's face. My job was to make children feel wanted and happy and loved and cared for. And the sort of activities I did with the children really brought them out of their shell. And this is the upliftment I've been given for over 20 years, but over the last 19 years, I feel my mission is much bigger, that I can share lots of stories on resilience, on many other things as well. But today, of course, we're looking at how we can be uplifted, So some of the things I've already shared with you are the ways to be uplifted. And me waking up to that email, particularly last week, imagine the joyous feeling I had in my heart, my soul. I was like, I wanted to scream from the rooftop to say, oh my God, this opportunity has come my way. But also, they also said there's an opportunity for a nomination of an award, and they've put me in the International Public Profile Awards. I was like, what is going on? Because I class myself more like a transformative coach, global speaker, and humanitarian. And to be given a nominee award for public speaker, public profile, it was just unbelievable. I was like, wow, I'm honored. I'm absolutely honored. And this is what can happen. So they were two separate emails, by the way. And I was like, whoa. So imagine how joyous I felt when I woke up that day. And that lasted with me for the whole of the day. And then again, these opportunities keep coming. And today was the same. Oh my goodness, I've been asked to submit something for research purposes to California University. And imagine where this is going, because I changed who I was. I transformed my life. I became happier. And I'm a big advocate of saying, do your work, but don't forget playtime too. We need to keep that there as well. As an entrepreneur and a leader in my field, I bring that balance in. So I have set times for what I do, but then I know I want my time, because when we're working as women as well, we can go into overdrive and we can have burnout. Trust me, I've had that too. And we need to space things out so that we know when we're working, but we also know when fun time is. So go out, meet your friends for a coffee or a tea, go out for lunch with somebody you feel you can trust and you love their company. These sort of things are so, so important for all women, because again, behind closed doors, we don't know what's going on for that person. And when we have that chit chat time, we open up a bit more, don't we? We come counselors each way. We sort of generally just in that chit chat are counseling one another and speaking and sharing our heart stories and what's been going on for us recently. And that bond for women is really important, because we are multitaskers. We can have like 5 things on the go, can't we, at the same time? Whereas men are different. They would be working in on a certain different level, that they are this first, then that, then that, then that. Whereas women, we like, do this, I'll do that, I'll do that. And don't forget, we keep a household running as well. So we've got to clean the house, we do the laundry, we look after the children if we've got children. There's so many things. And especially women, maybe carers for family members, So we mustn't forget that there's so many different roles we play, and it's utilizing our time to do what we need to do on a work basis, but then where do we have the fun? So please do not omit fun from your life. Even if it is you and your husband sitting and you put a movie on, or you and your partner, or you and your girlfriend, this is also really, really good for you. So elevation is really important to me. Helping ourselves to elevate our energy, our frequency, our joy, our happiness, and maybe also our business. If you're a businesswoman or if you're working for somebody, how many hours are you giving to somebody, and how do you feel in that time frame when you're working with somebody? And I was just coaching a lady just a few weeks back, and she's just finished with me for now, and she's coming back in September again. And what we've done is taken her from a space of absolute not feeling great in life. I'm changing my relationship to, for example, feeling low mood, to now being in control, to having my own power, to be able to stand up and speak for my own feelings. This is what I want, and this is what I definitely don't want, And taking it from that space to that space, she never smiled when she came to me. She hardly spoke. She was so low. But then, as we're seeing her, she's like, feet up onto the couch when she comes in, as if she's my best friend. She talks to me like really openly, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm Parveen. I'm feeling this now. I can't believe I said this to somebody. I would never have said that weeks ago." This is the transformative path that I take you on. And this is what happened for her. So this now has brought her joy, I think connectivity on a different level with people around her, where she's not going to be, I daren't say this. Oh, I might upset somebody, you know. So she's now coming out of her comfort zone of keeping her like this to go and, maybe we can do it like this. Or no, actually, that doesn't suit me. You see, how often do us women keep taking on responsibilities because we've been told to do it? Maybe it doesn't resonate with you. Maybe you need to speak up because you've been shy all of your life, or you've been hiding, you know, hiding behind closed doors as well for too long. And it's very important for us to remember that you are not alone. Okay, you are not alone. There is so much support, there is so much help out there. And it's just a matter of reaching out and going to somebody who's going to help you, just like this lady did. It's transformed her life, you know, within weeks. And now she's having a break because she's changing jobs. And then she's going to come back in September for the next part. So there we go. This is the encouragement I want to give you. You know, I want to empower people to realize there is so much behind you still.
This
And that's my part towards you today.
Thank you so, so much, Parveen. So, I mean, truly amazing sharing. If I summarize and I really like understand and play it back to you, from what I understand, of course, is that by having learned to grow up with four other sibling girls alongside you, with a mother who tried to make it all work in a very simple world, because that was a very simple way of seeing things and approaching life. So it did not feel complicated at all. However, there were still all these relationships to actually build with all these sisters. And it's not easy every single day, even though it can be absolutely fantastic. It really depends on who and when and what. And we understand that. And to go on with your life, to actually find your inner joy more than peace, joy where you can actually find back your fun and connect with children and bring back life and joy and fun in those children that who give you that back in return naturally, spontaneously, because this is how it goes. What you give, you receive. It comes back to you multiplied every single time. And to actually start to believe yourself in being a global speaker that attracts naturally because you believe it enough. That is the reason why you got those miracles. You believe it enough for that to actually come your way. So that now, not only do you affirm and know in your deep core that you are a global speaker on top of transformational life specialist and on top of connecting with children and with families. It's like, yeah, and I am a global speaker. And now what happens? Well, a global speaker, what does she has? She has awards, she has big stage, she has amazing research paper in California. I mean, she has a lot, and that is exactly what is coming your way. So you are truly showing with your own experience how rising to the frequency of your dream to the point of believing it to be true, so that after you believe it to be true, it actually collapses in your reality and becomes true for real. So now you can back it up, but you had to first believe it. And I believe that what you transform most in people in that transformational coaching journey is to actually imagine and believe in themselves first, so that click, now they are on the frequency of receiving what they believe they deserve, and they receive that, which is not all the not so good parts that they were receiving before when they actually reached out to you. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Wow.
And
Barbie,
also, it's also within the energy of the frequency we work with, which is called Angels of Transformation. It's a beautiful healing energy. Yeah.
truly is. So what is a website, or how can people get a hold of you?
Yes, so it's
So
soul-to-soul-wellbeing.com.
soul to soul wellbeing
.com.
.com. All right. Soul to soul wellbeing.com. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Parveen Smith. You have enlightened us and uplifted us in ways that only you can do. Thank you for that.
Thank you.